Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world brimming with connections, digital and physical. We are taught from an early age that relationships define us, that friendships are the bedrock upon which we build our lives. In the hustle of our daily existence, we find ourselves searching for that one person who will walk beside us, a companion who shares our joys and burdens. It is in the company of others that we often find our identity. And yet, there exists a paradox. The chosen woman, the one set apart from the world who walks alone, without friends, without relationships. Why does she walk alone? Why is she absent from the gatherings, the close-knit circles, the social interactions that everyone else seems to embrace with ease? What is it that compels her to stand apart, to choose solitude over the company of others? It is a question that on the surface may seem difficult to answer, but if we look closer through the lens of experience and introspection, we can begin to understand the profound and often misunderstood reasons that drive her. The chosen woman, unlike many, does not walk alone because of isolation or loneliness. She does not walk alone because of fear or rejection. Rather, she walks alone because she has chosen a path that is uniquely her own, a path that often requires solitude in order to find her true self. The world often tells us that in order to be successful, we must surround ourselves with others. We are told that relationships will bring us joy, fulfillment, and meaning. But the chosen woman knows something that most do not, that true strength lies not in the external connections we form, but in the internal connection we have with ourselves. She understands that relationships, while important, are not the ultimate source of identity or purpose. She is not afraid to stand alone because she knows that her worth is not determined by the people who surround her. She is secure in her own value, knowing that the relationship she chooses to cultivate will be based on mutual respect, understanding, and shared values, not dependency or need. The world often views the solitary woman with suspicion or even pity. Why is she alone, they wonder? What is wrong with her? But the reality is that there is nothing wrong with her at all. She is not lacking in anything. In fact, it is quite the opposite. She is complete in herself, and this is what makes her different from others. She does not need the validation of others to feel whole. She does not seek approval or affirmation from the world. Her worth is not tied to the fleeting opinions of those around her, but to something deeper, more enduring. What have you? This is a woman who knows her own heart, her own mind. She has taken the time to cultivate a relationship with herself, to understand her desires, her dreams, her purpose. In a world that is constantly pushing us to conform, to fit in, to seek approval from others, the chosen woman stands firm in her own identity. She does not need to seek out others in order to feel complete, because she knows that she is already complete in herself. But this is not to say that the chosen woman is devoid of relationships altogether. She values deep connections, ones that are built on authenticity and respect. She does not shy away from love, but rather seeks relationships that allow her to be fully herself without the need to compromise or lose her sense of identity. The relationships she does form are meaningful, not based on social expectations, but on a shared understanding of each other's worth and purpose. She does not walk alone out of bitterness or resentment towards others, but because she understands that true connection can only come when both individuals are whole in themselves. The chosen woman understands that relationships are not about filling a void or seeking validation. She does not need a relationship to define her worth. She is not seeking someone to complete her, but rather someone to share her life with, to walk beside her on the journey of life. The relationships she forms are not about neediness or dependency, but about mutual respect, love, and growth. In the pursuit of her purpose, the chosen woman understands that there will be times when she must walk alone. There will be moments when she must retreat into solitude in order to reflect, to recharge, to reconnect with herself and with her Creator. In these moments, she does not feel abandoned or forsaken. Instead, she embraces the solitude as an opportunity for growth, for self-discovery, for a deeper understanding of her path. This solitude is not a punishment, but a gift. It is in these quiet moments that she finds clarity, strength, and inspiration. It is in these moments of stillness that she can hear the whispers of her soul and the guidance of her higher calling. The world may see her as walking alone, but in reality, she is never alone. She is surrounded by the love of her Creator, the wisdom of her past experiences, and the strength of her inner resolve. The chosen woman understands that the journey of life is not always easy. It is not always filled with joy and laughter. There will be moments of pain, of loss, of struggle. But she knows that she has the strength to face whatever comes her way. She does not rely on others to carry her through the tough times. She knows that the only constant she can rely on is herself, her faith, and her inner strength. In walking alone, the chosen woman becomes a beacon of hope for others. She shows the world that it is possible to be whole, to be complete without relying on the validation of others. She teaches us that true strength is found in the ability to stand firm in our own identity, to walk our own path, and to trust in the journey, even when it seems uncertain. But why, you may ask, does she walk alone when it is clear that the world values relationships so highly? Why does she choose solitude in a world that celebrates connection? The answer is simple: because she understands that true connection can only be found when we first connect with ourselves. She understands that the most important relationship we will ever have is the one we have with ourselves. This is not to say that the chosen woman is unwilling to form relationships or that she does not value the people in her life. On the contrary, she understands the importance of meaningful connections. But she does not need others to define her. She does not need the approval of the world to feel validated. She is complete in herself. She walks alone, not out of necessity, but out of choice. She knows that in walking alone, she is not walking in isolation, but in independence. She is not cut off from the world, but rather fully immersed in it, free to move as she chooses, free to make her own decisions, free to follow her own path. In walking alone, she is not confined by the expectations of others. She is not bound by the limitations that society places on relationships. She is free to be herself, to pursue her own dreams, and to live her life according to her own values. But this freedom does not come without its challenges. The chosen woman must be strong, resilient, and unwavering in her commitment to herself. She must face the world's judgments, the questions, and the doubts, and stand firm in the knowledge that her path is her own. It is a path that requires courage, strength, and faith. It is a path that not everyone will understand, but it is her path, and it is a path that leads to true freedom. The world may try to convince her that she is missing out on something, that she is incomplete without the companionship of others. But the chosen woman knows better. She knows that her worth is not dependent on the number of friends she has or the relationships she forms. Her worth is found in the depth of her own soul, in the strength of her convictions, and in the faith that guides her steps. In walking alone, the chosen woman finds her purpose. She discovers who she truly is, beyond the labels, beyond the expectations, beyond the noise of the world. She learns to trust herself, to trust her instincts, and to trust in the journey that lies ahead. And in doing so, she becomes a powerful force in the world, a force that inspires others to find their own path, to walk their own journey, and to trust in themselves. To be the chosen woman is to walk a path that is not always easy, but one that leads to true fulfillment. It is to understand that while relationships are important, they are not the source of our identity or our worth. It is to recognize that the most important relationship we will ever have is the one we have with ourselves, and that in walking alone, we are not alone at all. So, to the chosen woman who walks alone, we honor you. We see your strength, your courage, and your unwavering commitment to your own path. You remind us all that it is not the number of people we surround ourselves with that defines us, but the strength and integrity with which we walk our own journey. You show us that in choosing solitude, we may find the truest form of connection, the connection to ourselves, to our purpose, and to the divine. And in the quiet, in the stillness, we come to realize that walking alone is not a curse, but a blessing. It is in walking alone that we are truly free to become who we were always meant to be. In the quiet moments of solitude, the chosen woman does not feel as though she is missing something. No, in these moments, she finds the fullness of her existence. While others may look at her with pity, thinking that she is lacking in companionship, she knows that she is far from lacking. She is rich in experiences, rich in wisdom, and rich in the strength that comes from standing alone. The solitude she experiences is not one of loneliness, but one of profound connection with herself, her surroundings, and with a deeper understanding of the world. It is in these moments of quiet reflection that she finds clarity. These moments provide her the space to hear her heart speak without the interference of the world's distractions. They allow her to tune into her higher calling and purpose, to make decisions not based on the whims of others, but on her deepest values and beliefs. We live in a society that often celebrates the loud and the crowded, the bustling interactions, the noisy clamor of social engagements. But the chosen woman has learned that true strength is found in stillness, in listening to the soft voice within. This voice, which many people ignore in their rush to conform, is the one that guides her through life. It is the voice that reminds her of her worth, that speaks to her of her value, and that tells her that she is enough as she is, without the need for external validation. Now, does this mean that the chosen woman is indifferent to the people around her? Absolutely not. She recognizes the importance of relationships. She knows that human connection is essential, but she does not view relationships as the source of her identity or happiness. Relationships to her are a reflection of the love and respect she has for herself. They are not about filling a void, but about sharing the fullness of her being with others who recognize her value. When she forms bonds with others, it is not out of necessity, but out of a mutual understanding of shared values and goals. These relationships are meaningful, and they are not tied to the idea of completing one another, but of growing together in mutual respect. Her independence does not diminish her capacity to love. Rather, it allows her to love more freely. She is not bound by the need to please, to seek approval, or to adjust her behavior to fit into someone else's expectations. She is free to love without condition, without needing the love to define her. This freedom allows her to create authentic connections, relationships that are built on a foundation of respect and mutual understanding. These are relationships where both individuals are able to fully be themselves, to walk together without feeling like one is dependent on the other for validation or a sense of self-worth. The chosen woman knows that her journey is hers alone to walk. She recognizes that while people may come and go in her life, the one constant is herself. She is the one who will always be there for her, the one who will always provide the strength she needs to face the challenges of life. In walking alone, she builds resilience, understanding that no matter what external circumstances may arise, her internal foundation is unshakable. When others look at her and wonder why she chooses this path, they often fail to see what she has gained. They focus on what they think she is missing, the social interactions, the friendships, the companionship. But what they do not see is the depth of self-acknowledge, the inner peace, and the strength that comes from being comfortable in one's own skin. The chosen woman walks alone not because she is incomplete, but because she has become whole in a way that many have not yet experienced. In walking alone, she is not rejecting the world or the people in it. Instead, she is inviting the world to meet her on her terms. She is showing the world that it is possible to walk through life with grace, with purpose, and with a deep sense of self-respect, without constantly seeking the approval of others. She is teaching us that we can be whole, we can be fulfilled, without constantly reaching out to others to fill the gaps that we believe exist within us. Those gaps, if we take the time to look, are not gaps at all. They are spaces of potential, spaces where we can grow into the fullest version of ourselves. For many, the idea of walking alone is a frightening one. The fear of being alone, of being isolated, is something that drives people to constantly seek companionship and approval. But the chosen woman, having walked this path for herself, understands that it is in solitude that she finds the freedom to grow, the the space to discover her true essence, and the strength to become who she is meant to be. In walking alone, she has learned to trust herself. She has learned to trust the quiet moments, the moments of stillness that allow her to reconnect with her true self. And when she finally chooses to share her life with others, she does so not out of need, but out of a desire to share her journey with those who walk similar paths. These are the relationships that bring joy, fulfillment, and meaning. But they are not the relationships that define her. She is defined by her inner strength, her self-awareness, and her connection to something greater than herself. She is defined by her faith, her values, and the courage it takes to walk alone when the world tells her she should be with others. As she continues her journey, the chosen woman becomes a source of inspiration to others. Her example teaches us that we do not need to be surrounded by a crowd to feel significant. We do not need to rely on others to tell us that we are enough. We do not need to seek out relationships to feel complete. In fact, it is in learning to stand alone that we can learn to truly stand with others in a way that is authentic, respectful, and empowering. Through her example, we come to understand that walking alone is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It is in walking alone that we come to know our true selves, that we develop the resilience to face the challenges of life, and that we find the freedom to be who we were always meant to be. The chosen woman walks alone, not because she is afraid of the world, but because she has learned that her true power lies in her independence, her self-acknowledge, and her unwavering faith in herself. So as we look at the chosen woman who walks alone, let us not pity her or see her as someone who is missing out. Instead, let us admire her strength, her courage, and her unwavering commitment to walking her own path. Let us recognize the power of solitude, the value of self-reflection, and the freedom that comes from walking alone. And let us remember that, like her, we all have the ability to stand tall in the face of the world, to walk our own path, and to become the fullest expression of who we are meant to be. The chosen woman, in her quiet strength, is not simply a symbol of solitary endurance, but a beacon for others who are searching for themselves. She demonstrates that we do not have to rely on external circumstances, relationships, or others' perceptions to be at peace with who we are. Her path, though often solitary, is filled with purpose and self-discovery. As the world rushes to fill every moment with noise and distractions, she embraces the stillness, finding clarity where others see emptiness. Many fear the silence that comes with solitude. The world teaches us to constantly seek the approval of others, to measure our worth through the eyes of those around us. But the chosen woman, through her solitude, has learned a deeper truth, that her worth is not dependent on the opinions or validation of others. In the quiet of her own thoughts, she has come to understand that she is enough, that she is whole, and that the world does not need to confirm her worth, because she has already discovered it within herself. In walking alone, she is not rejecting the world. She is learning to see it through new eyes, eyes that are not clouded by the judgments of others or the desire to conform. The chosen woman has learned that in order to truly understand the world, she must first understand herself. This journey of self-awareness is not easy. It requires introspection, patience, and an openness to confronting the parts of herself that may be difficult to face. But in doing so, she gains a profound understanding of who she is, what she values, and what her purpose is in this world. Her journey is not without its challenges. There will be moments when she feels the weight of the world on her shoulders, moments when the path ahead seems unclear. But even in these moments, she remains resolute. She does not rely on others to carry her through the tough times. She knows that the only constant she can rely on is herself, her faith, and the internal strength that she has nurtured throughout her life. For the chosen woman, walking alone is not an act of rejection or withdrawal, but an act of self-empowerment. It is through solitude that she finds the space to reconnect with her inner self, to deepen her understanding of who she is and who she is becoming in a world that is often filled with noise, expectations, and distractions. This quiet solitude becomes her sanctuary, a place where she can hear her own voice, where she can reflect, and where she can align her actions with her deepest values. As she walks this path, the chosen woman learns to trust the timing of her life. She understands that the journey of self-discovery is not something to be rushed or forced. It is a slow and deliberate unfolding, a process that requires patience and faith. She knows that the relationships she will form along the way will come when the time is right, when she is truly ready to embrace them. Not as a source of validation, but as a complement to her already fulfilled life. The world may tell her that she is missing out, that she is somehow incomplete without the companionship that others seek. But the chosen woman knows the truth, that she is not defined by the people around her, but by her own inner strength, purpose, and faith. She knows that true fulfillment does not come from external sources, but from within. She walks alone, not because she is lacking, but because she has found everything she needs within herself. As the chosen woman continues to walk her solitary path, she becomes an example for others. Her strength, her resilience, and her commitment to her own journey serve as a reminder that we all have the ability to walk our own path, regardless of the expectations or pressures the world places on us. Her example inspires others to embrace their own solitude, to seek their own truth, and to trust the process of self-discovery. In walking alone, she creates space for others to find their own way. She does not seek to lead or to be followed. Instead, she offers a quiet strength that encourages others to find the courage to walk their own path, to embrace their own journey, and to trust that they too can find meaning and fulfillment within themselves. She shows us that walking alone is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength and self-sufficiency. Through her example, we come to understand that it is possible to live a life of purpose and fulfillment, even in solitude. The chosen woman reminds us that we do not need to rely on others to define us, to make us feel whole. We are already complete in ourselves. And it is through this self-acknowledge, this inner peace, that we can find true connection with others, connections that are authentic, meaningful, and rooted in mutual respect and understanding. So let us honor the chosen woman who walks alone. Let us admire her courage, her strength, and her unwavering commitment to herself. Let us learn from her example that we do not need to seek approval or validation from others in order to be whole. Let us embrace the quiet moments of solitude in our own lives, knowing that it is in these moments that we can truly connect with ourselves and our purpose. And as we continue on our own journeys, let us remember that the path to fulfillment is not always a crowded one. Sometimes the most powerful path is the one we walk alone, guided by our own inner strength, our own faith, and our own understanding of who we are and who we are meant to be. For the chosen woman who walks alone, we see you, we honor you, and we are inspired by you. Your example teaches us that we are enough as we are, that true connection comes not from seeking the approval of others, but from standing firm in our own identity and walking our own path. In your solitude, you have found strength, and in that strength, you have found peace. May we all have the courage to walk our own paths, to embrace our own solitude, and to find the strength within ourselves to be whole, just as the chosen woman does. And in doing so, may we all become the truest versions of ourselves, walking boldly and confidently into the lives we were always meant to live. The journey of the chosen woman is not only one of self-discovery, but also of self-empowerment. Her life is a testament to the strength that lies in embracing solitude, not as a state of isolation, but as a sanctuary for growth. She has understood that it is in the quiet spaces, the moments when no one else is around, that we can truly hear the whispers of our heart, the truths that lie beneath the noise of the world. These whispers guide her actions, shape her beliefs, and direct her steps, ensuring that every choice she makes is one that aligns with her authentic self. The chosen woman, though walking alone, is not disconnected from the world. Far from it, she is deeply engaged with it, but on her own terms. She understands that her relationship with the world must come from a place of inner strength, not external dependence. She interacts with people, shares moments of kindness, and participates in the community, but never at the cost of losing herself. Her self-worth is not dependent on others' opinions of her. And because of this, she is able to give without expecting anything in return. She offers love, not to fill a void, but because her heart is full of it already. It is often said that in relationships we find parts of ourselves reflected in others. But for the chosen woman, the most profound reflection is found within herself. She has already learned to see herself clearly, to love herself fully, and to accept all that she is, strengths, weaknesses, triumphs, and failures. She does not need others to mirror her value. Her worth is already established, and it is not something that can be shaken by the absence or presence of relationships. The chosen woman walks a path of strength, but also of quiet resilience. In her solitude, she has faced her deepest fears, her darkest doubts, and her most profound struggle. And in facing them, she has not been defeated, but transformed. Her isolation has been a forge, shaping her into someone who knows that no matter what the world throws her way, she is capable of handling it. She does not need a crowd cheering her on or a network of people to support her. She has already learned to be her own greatest ally. What many fail to see is that the chosen woman's strength does not lie in her ability to walk alone, but in her ability to remain true to herself in a world that often asks us to compromise. She does not bend to the pressure of social expectations or the desire to belong. She does not shrink her dreams to fit the size of the box that society has placed her in. Instead, she embraces her individuality with pride, knowing that it is her uniqueness that gives her the strength to navigate a world that sometimes demands conformity. It is in her solitude that she has also found clarity. There is something incredibly powerful about the space that solitude provides, a space where one can sift through the noise and distractions of life, to hear the voice of purpose calling. For the chosen woman, that voice is not always loud, but it is always clear. It guides her decisions, encourages her to persevere when the road is hard, and reminds her of her deeper calling when the world around her becomes overwhelming. Her life, though seemingly solitary, is a reflection of the deep connection she has with her own soul. It is this connection that gives her the peace and strength to stand alone, unshaken by the uncertainties of life. The chosen woman does not walk through life as a passive observer. She actively shapes her path, knowing that she is the creator of her own journey. She embraces responsibility for her choices, and rather than placing blame on others or circumstances, she looks inward for the answers. This accountability is the cornerstone of her independence and resilience. Some may argue that the chosen woman's path is a lonely one, that she is missing out on the joys of companionship and togetherness. But the truth is, it is not loneliness that she experiences, but a profound connection with her own spirit and the world around her. In her solitude, she is never truly alone. She is deeply connected to the universe, to the energy that flows through all things, and to the Creator who guides her steps. Her solitude is not isolation, it is sacred space, space where she can connect with her purpose, replenish her spirit, and cultivate the strength to continue her journey. In walking alone, the chosen woman learns not to fear the quiet. She understands that silence is not emptiness, but the space in which everything is created. It is the stillness that allows her to hear the whispers of her heart and to align her actions with her highest purpose. In a world that constantly clamors for attention, she has learned to listen deeply, not just to the world around her, but to the subtle nudges within her own soul. It is in this listening that she finds her true strength and direction. It is often said that it takes a strong person to walk alone, and this is undoubtedly true for the chosen woman. But her strength is not born out of a desire for independence for the sake of independence. Rather, her strength comes from the knowledge that walking alone is the most authentic way for her to live. It is the way in which she can cultivate her fullest potential, unencumbered by the expectations or limitations that might be placed on her if she were to follow the crowd. The chosen woman is not afraid to be alone because she understands that in being alone, she is not lost, she is found. It is through her solitude that she discovers her own inner wisdom, her own power, and her own truth. She understands that in order to truly love and connect with others, she must first love and connect with herself. And so she walks alone, not because she has rejected the world, but because she has embraced the world within her. In walking her solitary path, she does not cut herself off from the world. Instead, she stands as a beacon of what is possible when we choose to live authentically and fearlessly. She inspires others to do the same, to find the courage to embrace their own journeys, to walk their own paths, and to trust that they too are enough. To the chosen woman who walks alone, we owe a debt of gratitude. You remind us that we are not defined by the relationships we have or the roles we play in the eyes of others. You remind us that we are whole in ourselves, that we are complete, and that the most important relationship we will ever have is the one we cultivate with ourselves. In your solitude, you show us the power of self-knowledge, self-love, and self-reliance. And through your example, we are reminded that we too can walk our own paths with courage and conviction into the lives we are meant to live. Thank you.